This is the San Francisco 49ers Report. Chase Sr. here with you. And as always, thank you so much for supporting the show. No matter where you are, how you're tuned in, I appreciate you for making today's show a part of your day. What's coming up here over the next several minutes? Big game coming up in Week 8 for both the San Francisco 49ers and the Houston Texans. So we're going to preview this game as Kyle Shanahan goes up against DeMeco Ryans, who used to be his linebackers coach and his defensive coordinator. The Niners, 1-point favorites now. But going into Monday Night Football, before the Texans got blasted by the Seattle Seahawks, it was actually Houston as the favorites at 1.5. The over-under for this game, low. The odds makers in Vegas expecting this one to be a pretty low-scoring defensive slugfest. It's only 41.5. This game going to be taking place at NRG Stadium in Houston. Kickoff is slated for 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. out there on the West Coast. Don't forget to subscribe and join us. We go live for every single Niners game. We preview every single Niners game. And if you're a diehard Niners fan, we're giving you elite coverage every single day right here on the show. So lock us in, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to also hit that bell icon, turn on your notifications. Therefore, anytime I push out a show like this, anytime we go live, you will be notified. So the final score of that Monday night doubleheader between the Seahawks and the Texans at Lumen Field in Seattle, 27-19. There is an alternate world in which the Seahawks could have won this game 45-3. And it should have been a Seahawks blowout instead of a one-score game. The Texans scored late on a meaningless touchdown, but don't let the score fool you. Houston got dominated from the start to the end of that ball game. C.J. Stroud was really, really bad. His regression is real. He was so good as a rookie last 2 years, 2024, 2025. He's kind of fallen apart. Now, it hasn't helped that he's had a couple of different offensive coordinators and the current offensive coordinator not putting him in a position to succeed. The offensive line stinks. They're missing Joe Mixon in that ground game. They're very inconsistent there. But with what Mike McDonald was doing on defense for the Seahawks, and all of the different looks that he was presenting C.J. Stroud looked lost. 23 of 49, 229 passing yards, 25 rushing yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Put the ball in harm's way and was missing throws all night long. Nick Chubb, 5 carries for 16 yards. Dalton Schultz, 9 catches for 98. And then on the Seahawks side, I would have run it a lot more if I was Seattle because they went a little bit cute, went a little bit pass happy, and that left the Texans with an opportunity a couple of different times to climb back into the game. Darnold wasn't great by any means, 17 of 31, 213 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Kenneth Walker, 17 carries for 66. The connection, though, between Darnold and Jackson Smith and Jigba has been elite of late. And JSN, 8 catches, 123 yards, and a touchdown. He's playing at an all-pro level. This Texans offense against Seattle was awful. There's no other way to put it. We can't beat around the bush here. I'm rooting for DeMeco Ryans to succeed, but sometimes this is what happens when you have a defensive coach. You can't find answers on offense, and the quarterback can struggle to develop. 254 yards of total offense in that game for Houston, only 3.7 yards per play, 198 team passing yards, 56 rushing yards, and a turnover. At one point, Texans fans were asking for Davis Mills to replace C.J. Stroud because he was that bad. And it's not like the Seahawks were that great on offense. Again, I thought they got a little bit too cute as Kubiak. I didn't love the game planning or the play calling as the game progressed. 316 yards, 4.7 yards per play. The Seahawks turned the ball over 4 times and still won this game handily. So that goes to show you just the awful effort and performance that we saw from Houston, and the fact that the Seahawks turned it over 4 times and Houston wasn't able to capitalize when the game was there to be had. It was there for the taking. It was there to salvage multiple times. Again, it backs up that the Texans were just embarrassed on Monday night. And for how C.J. Stroud fared specifically, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He did have a fumble as well. His quarterback rating, 59, 23 of 49, 10 yards per completion. And you want to know how ass that Texans offense was on Monday Night Football? This picture defines it. It was a really, really hard watch. This offense for Houston right now is lost. They have no answers. The game plans stink. They can't run it. They can't protect. CJ Stroud is struggling to pass it. And it's really shocking how he's gone downhill since his rookie year when he was fabulous. You look at what the Texans have done so far this year, and Monday night really defined their entire season. They entered 2025 with sky-high expectations, and all year long, they have not been a very good football team. Week 1, they lost against the Rams 14-9. Week 2, Baker Mayfield led a last-second comeback to lift the Buccaneers to a victory, 20-19. The Texans lost to the Jags 17-10. They did get in the win column with a 26-0 win over the Titans. Second worst team in the NFL, though, just ahead of the Jets. They beat a beaten-up Ravens team 44-10, and then they lose 27-19 to the Seattle Seahawks on Monday. And for DeMeco Ryans' team to play at 7 p.m. Pacific on a Monday, they didn't get back into Houston until very early this morning. They're going to be tired and dragging all throughout the week. That's a pretty big edge for Kyle Shanahan, Robert Saleh, the Niners coaching staff, and the Niners as a team. And then what stinks for Houston, too, is that they're most likely going to be without their top wide receiver, Nico Collins, who suffered a concussion in a short week. Tough to bounce back off of that. And again, for DeMeco Ryans, really like him as a defensive mind. And this Texans defense is really good. They're very well coached at all three levels. You can see that. And they bailed this offense out time and time again. But the offense couldn't capitalize. But when you have a defensive head coach and you have these quarterback struggles and you can't get offensive coordinator right, his seat going to get a little bit hot. In scouting the Texans, I mentioned it, CJ Stroud has really regressed. And since the halfway point of last year, Bryce Young has played better than CJ Stroud. The Panthers are a better team than the Houston Texans. Nobody would have said that with what happened in their respective rookie years for Stroud and Young. This offensive scheme, the play calling, the game planning, the lack of in-game adjustments, it stinks across the board. This offensive line is horrible. Niners defensive front and their defense going to have an opportunity to eat. This defense, though, one of the top units across the entire NFL, and this Nico Collins injury really does hurt their pass game. What I think Houston should do is play Jalen Noel more. He should be in the return game. He should get more reps at wide receiver. Really like the game at Iowa State. Him and Jaden Higgins also went to Iowa State. A good 1-2 rookie punch at that wide receiver spot. They just need to get those players involved a little bit more, but Nick Caley hasn't been able to do that as the OC. And in watching that game last night, this thought and this image really came to mind. This is Robert Saleh watching that CJ Stroud tape. This is Robert Saleh watching that Texans offensive tape against the Seahawks. Mike Macdonald, one of the better, more aggressive, creative, exotic defensive minds in football. Robert Saleh is there too. And the Niners have an opportunity to really control this game with their defense going up against the Texans offense, which is down right now. To the Niners injury front, some unfortunate news here. Bryce Huff, hamstring injury. He's going to be out at least the next 2 games. That loss is going to hurt. More on that a little bit later. Jake Brendel also going to be out for a couple of weeks. This might be addition by subtraction because Matt Hennessy played very well. We'll get to that during our keys to the game. I doubt that Brock Purdy's going to be able to play, and right now all indications are that Mac Jones is going to get another start. He's 4-1 as the starter. Keep in mind, I'm recording this show Tuesday, October 21st, so the injury situation will get more fluid, and we'll get more clarity on that throughout the week. Upton Stout, ankle. If Chase Lucas has to play again, that's fine. He had that big 4th-and-1 stop against Atlanta on Sunday night. Ricky Pearsall hasn't really progressed with that knee injury. We'll see what his status is as the week progresses. Yetur Gross-Matos, hamstring. Renardo Green, toe. Good news here with Renardo Green. It is not turf toe. And hopefully he doesn't have to deal with the same types of recovery timelines that have varied like Brock Purdy has had to deal with, because we still don't know when Purdy is going to come back. All right, who you got in this football game? Type SF for the 49ers, HOU for the Houston Texans. Get your predictions in, and I'll give you my prediction coming up here in just a little bit. Now, coming up next, just around the corner, I'm going to give you my keys to the game, top matchups to watch, what the Niners must do to win, But first, let's give a shout out to our friends at Brunt. A lot of you who watch this show, you know me as Chase Sr., right? Host of the 49ers Report. I love talking football. But growing up, my favorite job was working maintenance at a golf course where I was cutting fairways, tee boxes, and greens. And I've loved tough, rugged, handyman jobs my entire life. My favorite class in high school, wood shop. So that's why I absolutely love my Brunt work boots. And you can see these products for yourself. You should get them. I encourage you to do that. And you can get $10 off in the process by using our code CHAT. Now, here's what I mean when I say I really like Brunt. Because choosing work boots used to mean sacrificing comfort or durability. It's not the case any longer. If they felt good, they didn't last. And if they lasted, they wrecked your feet. Brunt thought that was BS. So they built tough boots that feel great from day one. No break-in, no sore feet, because people out there doing the real work shouldn't have to choose between comfort and durability. Founder Eric Girard, he grew up blue collar. He started Brunt Workwear after his friends in the trades kept telling him that the big brands had stopped listening and had not changed in 100 years. They had sold out to become fashion brands. That doesn't help anybody who are working hard jobs and long days. So his buddies encouraged him to start a brand built for them. And that's why all Brunt products are named after the guys he grew up with, real working tradesmen. And Brunt stands by what they make. You can wear them to work, and if they're not right for you, send them back. I don't know any other brand doing that. That's a company that believes in their product. So right now, for a limited time, our listeners get $10 off at Brunt when you use our code CHAT at bruntworkwear.com/chat. That's code CHAT at checkout. Just head to bruntworkwear.com/chat, use that code CHAT, and you're good to go. I'm going to put that link down below in the comment section, attached to the pinned comment, and in the show notes of today's San Francisco 49ers report. All right, we continue to move forward with our preview here on the show, and I'm excited to dive into all of this that's coming up here over the next few minutes. This is the San Francisco 49ers report. My name is Chase Sr. Thanks for hanging out here with me. Coming up on the show, my keys to the game between the Niners and Texans, matchups to watch, what the Niners must do and accomplish to win this game, and I'll give you my prediction. Key to the game number one, the 49ers losing Bryce Huff to this hamstring injury over the next couple of weeks is a huge bummer. You're already without Nick Bosa. You're already without Fred Warner. Going into the year, Bryce Huff was your number 2 edge rusher. Without Bosa, he had elevated to that top pass rusher spot. He had been playing really well. And in that game against Atlanta, he dominated. And now the Niners do not have a lot of healthy bodies at the pass rusher spot. Wouldn't surprise me if they make a trade this week. Huff this year, he's been fantastic under Robert Saleh. They've reunited from their Jets days. He didn't work out with the Eagles. He's working out with the Niners. Overall PFF grade of 82.3, pass rush grade of 81.4, run defense grade of 65.7. He has tallied 19 pressures, 15 hurries, 4 sacks. He has 9 stops, and all of that has come on 135 pass rushing snaps. The bend that he has, the twitch and the explosion that he has coming off the edge allows him to win a lot of matchups. We've seen that all year, and the Niners have been counting on him more and more in recent weeks without Bosa, and he's passed the test. So without him, Robert Saleh, once again, going to have to get very creative, very exotic and aggressive with how to generate pressure on C.J. Stroud. Which brings me to key to the game number 2. What I thought Robert Saleh did an awesome job with against Atlanta when the Niners pressured Michael Penix all night and pushed the pocket, collapsed the pocket, and got to him. Robert Saleh called a lot of timely blitzes in some really key situations. This Texans offensive line stinks. And I know I've been criticizing this Niners offensive line for a little while. It's much better than this Texans offensive line, which is one of the worst in the NFL. And hopefully the Niners found something here with their pass rush, because against Atlanta, as a team, they were able to generate 22 pressures and 2 sacks. With the Seahawks going up against the Texans on Monday night, C.J. Stroud was lost because he was under siege with all of the exotic looks that Mike McDonald called and presented that Texans offense with his Seahawks defense. So without Bryce Huff, you're going to miss and be without your top pass rusher at the edge spot. He had 5 pressures and a sack against Atlanta. Sam Okuwanu had 5 with the sack. Alfred Collins had 3. D. Winters had 2 pressures, Jordan Elliott with 2, Kevin Givens 2, Tatum Bethune 1, Chase Lucas, Michael Williams also added 1. You're going to need that collective effort again from this Niners defense to once again cause havoc and for this Sunday game, beat the Houston Texans. Key to the game number 3. Did the 49ers find something with their ground attack? Up until that Sunday night game against the Atlanta Falcons, they had been one of the worst rushing teams in football. 32nd in yards per carry, 30th in rushing yards per game. But the last 2 games, we've seen some improvements, and this is because Kyle Shanahan has made some scheme adjustments. The Niners have run it less as far as their zone running scheme. The 49ers zone rushing percentage, weeks 1 through 5, 61.2%. But in the last 2 games, we've seen less zone running, 42.6%, and more power and gap scheme from Kyle Shanahan. And that led to Christian McCaffrey turning back the clocks, looking like the player who he was in 2023 when he won Offensive Player of the Year. It led to this Niners ground attack having its best game of the season. And this Kyle Shanahan offense is at its best when the ground game is humming, when there is balance with this offense. Because if you can run it successfully, you dictate the pace, the physicality, the flow, the complexion of the game, and it helps out the quarterback and the pass game. Now, with Matt Hennessy replacing Jake Brendel, the Niners, because of injury, may have found something here as well. Hennessy very well might be an upgrade from Brendel, who I will say, prior to hurting his hamstring against Atlanta, was playing pretty well in that game. But Hennessy might be a smaller player, but he's a quicker, more agile player. And we're not talking about some journeyman slouch here. Like, Hennessy was a 3rd-round pick out of Temple by the Atlanta Falcons. And you saw some of the ability against his former team on Sunday night. 20 pass blocking snaps, 0 sacks allowed, 1 pressure allowed, 0 quarterback hits given up, pass blocking efficiency of 97.5, pass blocking grade of 79.2, run blocking grade of 64.1. And Christian McCaffrey looked incredible on Sunday. Kyle Shanahan went in having a game plan of wanting to run it a lot. Well, Christian McCaffrey got a lot of touches. 24 carries on the ground, $129, 2 rushing touchdowns, 5.4 yards per carry. That number by far his best of the year. Key to the game number 4, and another key matchup here. The Niners offensive tackles, Trent Williams and Colt McKivitz, will be tested. And Trent Williams is probably coming off the best game of his season because he was excellent on Sunday. Did not give up a single pressure. Colt McKivitz has been pretty damn solid all year. But the edge rusher combination for Houston, one of the best in the NFL. Danielle Hunter this season, fresh off that contract extension, 4 sacks, 6 quarterback hits, 4 TFLs, and 16 tackles. And then his running mate is the youngster out of Alabama, Will Anderson. He too has 4 sacks. So Hunter and Anderson have combined for 8 sacks this year. Anderson also has 7 quarterback hits, 7 TFLs, and 22 tackles. Key to the game number 5. Beware of Derek Stingley. Now, I have certainly cooled on some of these Pro Football Focus grades. They lost a lot of key employees a couple of years ago. Last year, it was up and down. This year, their grading system has been horrible. For instance, they had Geno Smith, who had 64 passing yards, as a higher graded quarterback this week than Patrick Mahomes. The Raiders got shut out. At one point, the Chiefs had 30 first downs to the Raiders' 30 plays. Like, how does it happen that Mahomes is a lesser graded player than Geno Smith? So when you look at the PFF numbers for Derek Stingley, another recently paid superstar, it doesn't look all that good. But this is one of the top lockdown corners in the NFL. And obviously you have Patrick Surtain who's up there. I think Quinyon Mitchell has been playing at that high level. There are some other cornerbacks who are in that tier. Derek Stingley is in that tier. He's a stud. He does such a great job of reading the receiver, reading the eyes of the quarterback. He's very opportunistic with the opportunities that present themselves to him. And if you throw it his way and you're inaccurate or you telegraph your pass, he's going to make you pay. And I wonder who he's going to cover in this game because obviously the Niners have been very short-handed at the wide receiver spot. That's also led to why you've seen Mac Jones throw the ball really quickly and get rid of it. It's a formula that it's crazy that it's working out that effectively this year, but it's worked for Mac Jones because of the lack of juice at wide receiver. Predict the score, Niners Texans. This is a huge game for both teams here in week 8. I think this game is once again going to be low scoring because the Niners haven't scored a lot of points all season long because they've had so many injuries and they've been so banged up on offense. So I think the Niners win this game. I think San Francisco lifts their record to 6-2. I do think it's close. The Texans are in desperation mode in a loaded AFC that is really just jumbled up right now. And you keep in mind the AFC South. Not a lot of people were expecting the Indianapolis Colts to be as good as they've been this year. The Jags, better than expected. The Texans, worse than expected. So they are playing for their playoff lives, but I just think the Niners are the better coach team, the better team. They're rolling right now, and I think San Francisco wins.